It's 10 past midnight. A weary and hungry scholar approaches you. He asks you for food and drink. Would you welcome him in and help him, or would you refuse? Keep listening, and you might be more fortunate than the others. Welcome, listeners, to the Folklore podcast, where we'll be looking at many different folklores and paranormal entities all around the world. On today's podcast, we are visiting Europe, mainly Hungary, and we will be focusing on folklores. These are the stories passed down through generations, tales that chill the bones for those who are brave enough to listen by the firelight, or just fry the children to behave. The lore that we will be looking at is the Garabanciás. The Garabanciás is a type of wizard, sorcerer in the Hungarian folklore, often depicted as a wandering student or scholar who has power to control the storms, summon dragons, and work other forms of magic to its will. The figure reflects Hungary's historical fascination with students, scholars, and knowledge seekers. In the medieval times, universities and schools were seen as mysterious places, and students were often viewed as having access to hidden knowledge that could be both dangerous and beneficial. This sense of mystery surrounding them, learned by them, combined with Hungary's deep connection to nature and its elements, likely contributed to the creation of this entity. Depending on the story, he or she can be a trickster, a wise man, a bringer of fortune, or a vengeful spirit who punishes those who mistreat him. The fear also came from his power, because it was tied to the devil, making him a more sinister figure in the stories. In these versions, his magical abilities come from dark pacts, and he may be seen as a bringer of chaos than a protector. In the next story, we will be visiting a medieval village where it might have been appeared. As David opened the door, a man stood there in the cold of the night. He asked for shelter, wood, drink, anything that would help him on the road. The villager looked at the scholar. He thought to himself, how could be one so weary? He is a scholar, a man of wisdom and knowledge. However, he let the scholar in for the night. The cold wind and the weather was harsh out there. The scholar thanked the villager who left him in and sat down at the blinking fireplace. The villager fetched him some food and drink and talked about the everyday life. The scholar told him that he was far away from home. He was seeking knowledge to aid him on his adventure. The next day, the scholar departed and wished the man a good harvest. The villager thanked him, and he hoped he will find his way to knowledge that he seeks. Weeks passed, and the villagers' crops grew stronger in the season, while others who neglected the scholar faced a harsh harvest. This story has a happy ending for those who helped the scholar. However, others may be less fortunate when dealing with this scenario. In other stories, where they didn't welcome the Garabanciás, they were met with icy rain that destroyed their crops, or suddenly their wells started to be drying out. This folklore might have been created because, in those times, scholars were often seen as outsiders. This fear of the unknown fueled the creation of supernatural stories to explain to their powers and knowledge. Not many people could afford to go to colleges and learn those kind of books they created. This made them fearful because they couldn't understand the knowledge they had. They deemed them as the followers of the devil. What do you think about the folklore? Was it real, or was it created just to create fear? Do you have similar stories in your country about a traveling witch or sorcerer who asks for food and give you blessings or curses in return? Comment below and share it with the others. You might save them from an unfortunate event. Thank you for listening to this small podcast. Until then, I hope you have a good night. And remember, always be kind to those who are in of need. Because you don't know who or what is asking for that help.